Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live 10 at 10.
7% of my tax bill, not 7% of Fargo's share, but 7% of my entire tax bill that I get from the state is just incentives. And that means I'm just paying for somebody else's tax bill with that.
Commissioner Tony Gehrig has been fighting against tax incentives for businesses in Fargo since being elected. Tonight he was back in the ring, this time over a break for a proposed apartment complex in North Fargo. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Andrea has the night off. Valley News Team's Giovanna Simic was at City Hall this evening as commissioners and people living near the proposal hashed it out.
Some Fargo City Commissioners believe because the city keeps growing, tax incentives are necessary.
When you look at Block 9, that wouldn't have happened. When you look at Robert Street, that wouldn't have happened unless you had some incentives to make them do that.
Others disagree.
We're taking money out of the economy, we're giving it to somebody else, and we're all paying for it. So I believe it has, as you said, bitten us in the butt already. And when is it going to end? It will never end unless people of Fargo start speaking up.
The city has set standards about giving out tax incentives, and Gehrig has never agreed with them.
I've taken the stance that I won't support them until we fix our guidelines. And we need to rear back, in my opinion. We need to take our foot off the gas, and I believe we're accelerating.
One of the newest requests is a proposed apartment building on 14th Street North. It will provide 23 apartment units and 52 parking spaces. Neighbors in the Roosevelt area say builders don't need the tax incentives to get the job done.
People don't understand that. We're just deferring tax for a short time. When it comes off, it'll pay the majority of the taxes.
In the case of the North Fargo apartment building project, commissioners agreed on a 3-2 vote. Gehrig and John Strand voting no, Mayor Mahoney, Dave Pepcorn, and Tony Grinberg voting yes. In Fargo, Giovanna Simic, Valley News Live.
Commissioner Gehrig also tried to get the commission to reconsider a $660,000 tax exemption approved earlier to get FedEx Air to move from Grand Forks to Fargo. His motion died for a lack of second. Moorhead Public Schools beefing up security for the coming school year. A bond referendum passed in November is providing the necessary dollars to provide more security entrances at all school buildings. During the school day, parents and visitors can only use the main doors and must identify themselves with a school secretary in the entryways. And starting in October, a software system will be installed where visitors and parents picking up their children will have to scan their IDs. Moorhead Superintendent believes the improved security will help ease the minds of parents.
I think for the families it'll be a little more feeling of safety and security for their children. For students, it shouldn't be that much different because we did have parents come into the office to pick up their students, but this way it'll be a bit more automatic for them rather than waiting for a secretary to finish their work.
The security increase was part of a $78.2 million bond to help support Moorhead Schools' growing enrollment. A West Fargo young adult says anyone is capable of domestic violence, and she points to her mom being shot and killed by her dad, who then turned the gun on himself. Family tell us that Tammy Baumgartner was going through a divorce with her abusive husband. Her daughters were trying to get her help, but their worst fears came true when she didn't come home 2 weeks ago Sunday.
It's not fair, to keep it a secret. If you know what's happening, reach out. I mean, our mom, she was so scared to do anything, and I mean, look what happened, and I couldn't imagine having that happen to anybody else.
Savannah, who has another sister and a younger brother, say the community should be watching and listening for any strange behavior, whether it's family, neighbors, or strangers. If you suspect something is wrong, call for help. You could save someone's life. A $1,000 reward is being offered in a vandalism case in Valley City. Someone spray painted the new flood wall. It happened sometime early Saturday morning at 4th Street Southwest and 4th Avenue. That's near the East Bridge crossing of the Cheyenne River. Vandals spray painted several drug-related phrases and a derogatory comment about police. Drivers should expect to see some lane closures along Broadway tomorrow. The southbound lane of Broadway will be closed from 9th Avenue North to 8th Avenue North. Traffic will be detoured to 7th Street North. And northbound lanes on Broadway will be reduced from 28th Avenue North to 29th Avenue North. Also, northbound traffic will be diverted to the middle turn lane and will run head-to-head with southbound traffic. These closures are going to be in place to allow crews to repair storm sewers, and the work is expected to be done Friday. After helping flood victims in Louisiana, volunteers with the Red Cross are back home in North Dakota. Barb and Paul Hankey drove from Valley City and spent time aiding survivors of this historic flooding down there. They joined other volunteers working at relief shelters throughout the area and helping load National Guard trucks with food, water, and other supplies. They say seeing the victims having to throw out household items reminded them of the Grand Forks flood back in 1997. They're just happy they could be of some help.
Oh, it makes you just feel good. They're all out helping each other, and it just makes you feel so good to be able to help them help themselves.
13 deaths have been reported as a result of the flooding in Louisiana. More trouble for Congressman Anthony Weiner. The New York Post publishing lewd photos of Weiner, which he had sent to an admirer. It marks the third sexting scandal for the former congressman. An hour after that, his wife and top aide for Hillary Clinton announced she was separating from her husband. Reporter Jamie Yuccas has the story.
The sexting life of Anthony Weiner was front page news in the New York Post. The tabloid claims to have text and photos the former New York congressman sent a woman who is not his wife last year. One photo is him aroused in his underwear with his toddler next to him. The toddler's mother is Huma Abedin, the top aide to Hillary Clinton. In a statement, she says, "After long and painful consideration and work on my marriage, I have made the decision to separate from my husband." Weiner has not commented and deleted his Twitter account. It's his third public sexting scandal.
I am deeply ashamed of my terrible judgment and actions.
After the first one, Weiner resigned from Congress. After the second, he abandoned his bid for New York City mayor. Abedin was pregnant at the time.
I love him. I have forgiven him. I believe in him.
Donald Trump waded in after the news broke. In a statement to the New York Times, Trump praised Abedin's choice to separate, but added, "Who knows what he learned and who he told? It's just another example of Hillary Clinton's bad judgment." Trump has tried to tie Abedin's marriage to Clinton's judgment before.
It's a stretch, I think, to try to do that, but he's been trying to do that, and he'll continue to do that. How this will resonate with the average American remains to be seen.
Abedin has known Clinton for at least 2 decades and has worked alongside her for more than 15 years. Jamie Yuccas, CBS News, New York.
Several news organizations that used Weiner for political commentary have cut ties with him. Actor and comedian Gene Wilder, who starred in a string of classic Hollywood comedies, has died. One of the most memorable roles was as a quirky candy maker in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. A stage actor initially, he adapted to the silver screen and could hold his own with legendary stand-up comedian Richard Pryor. Their on-screen chemistry endured through 4 films. Wilder's nephew said the actor passed away in Connecticut due to complications from Alzheimer's disease. Gene Wilder was 83 years old.
Valley News Live 10 at 10 continues with No Wait Weather.
Well, the weekend is done. So it was a long one out there, very stormy, damaging storms as well as very heavy rains, Mike. So we start the week quieter, and it's getting more comfortable as the hours tick by. Here's a look at your current conditions outside. Very quiet, clear skies, and a temperature of 67 degrees. We've cooled off slowly after a high in the mid-80s. It was certainly summer-like and still quite humid. The first half of the day quite cloudy as well. But heading into the evening, thanks to a north-northwest wind at 9 miles per hour, we're importing some drier air into the valley. Here's Fergus Falls at 66. You still have 66-degree dew point. When the temperature and dew point are the same, well, we could have some areas of patchy, dense fog. And Lakes Country certainly seeing a fair amount of rain over the last couple of days, between 3 and 10 inches reported from the weekend storms. 58 Grand Forks, and here's where the coolest, driest air is infiltrating our region. Dew points in the 50s. That's very comfortable. Crack the windows open. And it's getting cooler still up in Langdon, 55-degree temperatures, at Valley City, 61. Sisseton still a little on the muggy side, 69 there, and mid-60s through Lakes Country, a little cooler up in northwest Minnesota in the low 60s. Throughout the day, the dry air has made its way in. Dew point temperatures representative of that temperature that we cool the air down to make clouds and dew, and certainly earlier in the day with dew points near 70, it was sticky out there. Notice, though, from the northwest, those winds kind of carrying in that drier air, and dew points have at times been in the 30s in northwest portions of North Dakota, and that means with clear skies and calm winds, temperatures could rapidly approach those low 40s or upper 30s. Something to keep in mind as we approach the close of our summer season. Radar shows not much in our area. A couple of blips in Grant County and Robertson County, South Dakota, south of Sisseton. Much like our area with slow-moving thunderstorms last night into our early Monday morning, they are plagued with the same weather out in eastern Minnesota, with storms just very slowly creeping southward toward the Twin Cities along a stationary or very slow-moving cold front. And as it tries to progress southward into this humid and sticky air mass to the south, buckets of rain continue to fall. For us, cool, dry air is on its way in and here to stay for a while. Overnight, very quiet. Temperatures cooling quickly. Areas of patchy, dense fog not out of the question. I think the best chance of that could very well be where we got inundated with a lot of low-level moisture in the form of heavy rains. We'll start our day in the 40s and 50s, and look at this, mid-40s briefly, not out of the question in northwest Minnesota. Sunshine aplenty, light winds, and perfect weather to get out and enjoy your mid-morning. 70s for most of us by midday. As we go through the afternoon, the chance of 80s will be from Fargo to Jamestown and point south. Elsewhere, 70s. And cool at that in places like Badette, Lake of the Woods, War Road, low to mid 70s at best. So your hour-by-hour planner, Fargo's a 54-degree start. As you're heading home from work, temperatures will be closer to 80. Winds still from the north, not too strong, 5 to 15 miles per hour. On your way home from work in Stutsman County, upper 70s there, mid 70s for Langdon, and those mid 70s stretch all the way along the international tier of counties there, and Bemidji as well. 75 for the Detroit Lakes area. Now a look at a great photo uploaded from the storms. We saw a lot of towering cumulonimbus cloud. This anvil uploaded by Michael Peterson, just showing the power of the upward velocity of the air running into the stratosphere and pancaking out on the top. Easy for me to say. Here's a look at your planning forecast. Wednesday, 81 degrees. Then as we close out our work week, we'll see increasing south winds, increasing temperatures, and humidity. That will fuel a few thunderstorms through our holiday weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and into Labor Day itself, Mike.
All right, thanks. Flying to Cuba, that's something that from a commercial standpoint hasn't happened for a very long time. Well, that's about to change. Details to come later on Valley News Live 10 at 10. Up next, no chemo, no radiation. How a robot was used to help a cancer patient recover quickly.
You're watching Valley News Live on TV, online, and on the go. Always on, wherever you are, whenever you need to know. Valley News Live.